everybody. Welcome on into your go-to show for sports here on the Shore. I'm Sports Director Brandon Bosser.
What's up? It's yours truly, sports anchor Devin J. Martin. Brandon, football is finally here.
Oh my goodness, finally, after about, 9 months since last high school sports game for football. But on Delmarva Sports Insider, we've got you covered with all the games that took place. Let's go over what we have in store for you tonight. Decatur and Dover, they both have high expectations. We'll take a deeper dive into both of their upcoming seasons. Plus, we'll have your power rankings for the Henlopen Conference, our top plays so far this week.
And we got an Easton alum with a big game for Delaware football to start their season. So you got to stay tuned. We've got a packed show tonight full of football.
Yeah, that's right. We begin tonight with the Cape Vikings up in Bear. They're looking to show that last year was no fluke.
Yeah, what a run it was for the Vikings last year, making it all the way to the 3A state title game.
It was so impressive to watch. Every single week, it's like, can Cape keep this going?
Yeah, and they did it, especially getting hot at the right time at the end of the year. But that was last year, so we got a new season with new leaders. And honestly, it looks like we're getting the same results so far as that's what it looked like for game one today for Cape.
Almost same exact results.
Yeah, Cape Henlopen starting off strong. They're going on the ground like they did a lot last year. This time it's Jaden Messick. He weaves his way through the defense, and he's down inside the 5-yard line, just a couple yards short of the touchdown. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's Messick again, finishing off the drive with the short TD run. Now, check this play out from Jamison Tingle. The Vikings have a primetime player on their hands. A sophomore extends the play. Watch him fire a dart to Jaden Dukes in double covered. Cape with some big-name players making some big-name plays.
That's a superstar play right there. Cape's defense absolutely smothering against Red Lion. This is a game that was 21-14 last year, week one. This time, 2013. Yesterday, the Vikings would go on to win. Check out the read there by the linebacker, Osmir Batson. He's a sophomore, nearly with the pick on that play. We told you before this game, this season, that Cape would be a running back by committee this year. Here's junior Quadrell Richards on the carry, burst of speed down the sidelines. Cape would go on to win this one by a touchdown. So far, so good for Cape Henlopen.
Yeah, I mean, they're just picking up where they left off last season, especially doing stuff on the ground. But that rocket from Tingle, I didn't see any of that last year from the Vikings. So if they're going to have a passing game that's just as dynamic as their running game, there's nothing stopping them from getting back to the 3A title game.
Yeah, and one thing about Mike Frederick is I think he's a fantastic leader for that Cape Henlopen team. So it'll be fun to watch, especially if Tingle can take that next step this season. I think as a sophomore, we're going to see him for a few more years to come and really become a polished
The rest of the
quarterback.
Henlopen should be worried if he's already playing this well, and he's only a sophomore in high school.
That's right. All right, now let's move to a big 3A, 2A crossover down in Laurel from last night. The Bulldogs hosting Sussex Central. Knights coming off of that loss to Cape Henlopen in the semifinal. They're hungry this year. What a play here. It's Khalid Burton. Sensational grab going to the ground between two defenders. Later on, it's Tate Walls taking it in for the score from 1 yard out, and the Bulldogs tying it up at 20-all. It's because the extra point was blocked on the play. Here come the Knights. This kid is going to be phenomenal. William Harmon with the carry. He just bulldozes over guys. He's going to be a lot of fun, and the typical running back for Sussex Central that you love to see. Big, physical guy that you can give over and over again. There's Victor Perez in the middle of that defensive line.
Next drive, Central puts this away. Jawan Sturgis wanted it, but he gets just short. Instead, it's Bradley Chavez on the quarterback keeper, the new QB at the helm. This game was closer than the score indicates. Central gets the big win over Laurel, 41-20, so they're starting the revenge season off on good footing.
Yeah, and I think Central could have won this game by more because Laurel had a few big plays, including a return for a touchdown. So Central looks like they're going to be phenomenal once again this year. Not surprising whatsoever.
Now to the Henlopen South, we got a battle. Woodbridge, the 2A powerhouse, first hosting 1A Seaford on First Responders Night. Now the Blue Raiders already knocking on the Blue Jays' door. Quarterback Logan Moran handing it off to running back Tyler Ely, and he plunges in for 6. The very next play, instead of an extra point, the Raiders come up real aggressive, and they go on the ground again for 2 points. Javen Chapman gets the conversion. Woodbridge smells blood in the water. The Blue Raiders would not be stopped. They're heading downfield. That's Shakari Banks hauling it in between two defenders, and he's in for the score. They're up big early in this game.
Yeah, and Woodbridge would go on to win this one 38-0. So as of right now, you can't take too much away from week 0. But right now, Woodbridge, it looks like last year's team, well, they're back to being really competitive, just like last year. I think they went 8-2 last year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They had that
State
one
semifinal
down
appearance.
year.
Yep.
Marvin Dooley came in. They went to the state championship game. They fell in that state championship game. They had a down year. Now they're back to being a perennial powerhouse in the Henlopen South. It's going to be a lot of fun in that 2A District 3 because Woodbridge with a statement win last night. And how about another statement win? Lake Forest at Odessa last night. Spartans in the first game of the Jackson Parson quarterback era. But this game dominated by the defense as well as running back Aiden Young. Young with a 3-yard score there. Then again, Young from 71 yards out. He could go all the way. That is a big man with some big speed outrunning all the officials. They come out there and they're like, yeah, he crossed the plane. Lake was phenomenal last night. Parson did the most he could with just 7 pass attempts. He had 5 completions plus that pretty touchdown to Nevon Pierce.
Yeah, that's a great win for Lake as they win 18-14. Their defense was stellar, especially in the second half, for them to get the comeback on the road to get in their favor. This was the first game with them being led by Josh Webb. He led the defense after their defensive coach retired after 15 years. So things already looking good and looking up in Felton for the Spartans.
Yeah, sure are. And Lake Forest, they were a team that we thought could do a lot of big things last year. Yeah. Jonathan Tyndall, unfortunately, had that injury. We'll see if Parson can step in and fill those shoes, but Lake Forest has always been one of those teams that is a ground and pound type of team. And we'll see how Webb's defense does this year as well up in Felton. Now to some more final scores. Cesar Rodney, 17-0 over William Penn last night. Great start for the Riders. It would be fantastic to see Cesar Rodney get some wins this year.
Yeah, and you can see Milford also pretty good too, 20-6. Two teams that weren't that good last year already starting their season off strong.
Yep, Milford 20-6 winners. They were on the road for that one. Delmar, the last time we checked, it was 49-0 over the Dickinson Rams.
Your alma mater.
In the third quarter, so that's not pretty. I mean, come on, Delmar. Do we have got to put 49 up?
No mercy. No mercy.
All right, Downington West 42-6 over Smyrna. So tough game for Smyrna out there, but we also got a couple of games coming up tomorrow as well.
Yes, yeah, and we got Sussex Tech. They're taking on Glasgow. That's going to be on the road. That game, I think, is around noon tomorrow. And then Dover facing Troy High School out of Pennsylvania. That one will be at 8 p.m., but that's not going to be at Dover High School. That's going to be up in Wilmington at Abyssinian Stadium. So that's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk about who we think are the top teams in the Henlopen Conference. We each have our top 5s. I haven't seen Devin's yet, so we'll see what he came up with. I got, hey, Smyrna 42-6. They fell tonight against Downington West. I've still got them number 1.
Yeah, they didn't face a team from around here, though. So Downington West is obviously a really, really good school.
Yeah, so I got Smyrna number 1. Sussex Central, I think, is always fantastic under Coach Wells, and they showed it last night against Laurel. Dover at number 3. They're going to be kind of a we'll see what they've got type of team, but they've got John Parker, who's first-teamer All-State at wide receiver and returner. They've got big-time explosion on the offense, plus Mikey Stevenson down there in the middle of that line. Then Woodbridge and Laurel, I think those are the top 2 teams from the 2A.
Well, I didn't want to copy your top 5 exactly, so I have it just some of the same teams and then shifted a little bit. So,
all right, let's take a look.
So Sussex Central is my top team so far. And if I had to do it over, maybe I'd put Cape at number 1. I'm surprised Cape didn't make your top 5. They have the pedigree coming off
Cape Henlopen did a great job being underdogs last year. I don't want to take that away from them. I'm going to keep them as underdogs, and I want to see them continue to rack up those W's. Okay. So it's no disrespect to Cape. It's just keep doing what ain't broke.
And now for me, we both agree Dover at number 3. And then 4, I got to put Smyrna on the list. Obviously, their competition is a little bit different. They're facing a lot of out-of-state schools.
They did lose Tiberi, their senior quarterback from last year.
Yes, but they also have their other quarterback that was a sophomore. Yes, Marks, that was a freshman last year. That's going to be – they got a lot of playing time as well as they made the 3A 3A playoffs. And then number 5, I got to give it up to Polytech.
I love that.
I think they were 10-2 last year in the 1A. I think they got to be. I want the 1A to get represented somehow. So I think they may be the best team in the 1A this year. So I got to put them on at number 5.
And that's the fun thing about these power rankings. It's not about like who can beat who. Sometimes it's like we got to give Polytech some love. They went 9-1 last year.
Yeah.
They went to the state semifinals.
Right.
They could have made it to the championship, and they've got all of those great players back.
Yes, they do.
Explosive players back for Polytech.
So I expect
having Polytech
I expect a
in
lot from them this year. Again, they won their first playoff game last season. As you mentioned, all those players, most of those players are returning. So I got to put them in that top 5. We got to represent the 1A and the 2A as well, and not just the 3A, Brandon.
All right, stay updated while we're at these games in real time. Follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now.
Now let's continue to talk about one team that we were just talking about. Our number 3 power ranked team, the Dover Senators. They've been knocking on the door in the 3A for the past, I would say, 3 to 4 seasons, but they're still chasing that elusive title this decade. Now, again, I was at their final practice today before their game tomorrow. So let's check out this story from Dover.
We have to get hit the ground running right now, so the buy-in has to be sooner than later.
Maurice Polk, the new head coach of the Dover Senators football team, has a sense of urgency unlike any other.
I got here April 25th, so we didn't have a lot of time to, figure out, my first objective was to talk to every player, so I took my time to go inside the building, talk to every player, tell them what the expectation is, and then talk to them as a team, tell them what the expectation is, and let them know that we don't have time.
Replacing Chip Knapp as the leader of the Senators is a tough task since he took them to the state title game in 2022. But now, Polk has the challenge of elevating the Senators over that final hurdle standing between Dover and a championship. He says for Dover to accomplish that, they have to be disciplined.
At the end of the day, when it comes down to winning, big games, close games, the more disciplined team and the more focused team is going to, come out on top.
And while the Senators lose 19 seniors from last year's 3A runners-up, he says there's still plenty of playmakers on this squad.
Mikey Stevenson is a guy that we expect to, continue making plays. We have some other guys on offense. Mark Patterson, he's a guy. Jaheim Cole. We have a few running backs that we expect to make plays as well. Shamik Morris, Jaden Bunch, and Noah Ridge, Eleazar.
He says the ceiling of this team is sky high.
I feel like we can contend for a state championship with the team that we have. It's just going to be a process, and if we go through the process, we'll be where we want to be at the end of the season. So that's the goal.
So just some extra info on Coach Polk. He's been a coach on the college level for the past 14 seasons. So he comes to Dover with a lot of experience that he's going to be instilling on the Senators. But I mean, when you take over a job, it's hard. It's hard to take over a team that hasn't been good. But I think it's just as hard to take over a team that has been good, but that hasn't able to win a championship. Because the expectation is you have all the pieces. You need to win the title. It's like they say when you talk about the NFL, Super Bowl or bust. I think it's the DIAA championship or bust up there in Dover.
Well, the thing about Dover is before Chip Knapp came along, Dover really didn't have high expectations. Chip Knapp was also a college coach with Wesley. Came in, turned that entire program around. So I think Dover went out and said, we need another guy from college to come in and take this program over. Yeah. And we'll see what they can do.
They were in the title game
just
2 years ago.
9-1, 1-point loss to Sussex Central, and then they fell to Cape Henlopen in the first round of the playoffs. So Dover was this close to being the top team in the entire state.
Yeah.
All right, well, the Senators beginning their season tomorrow against Troy High School. We'll see if Coach Polk can get that first win. That's going to do it for the A block. We're calling our first time out. But when we return, the Decatur Seahawks, they come into the season with lofty expectations. That and more when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
Hi, my name is Mike Judy. I'm the head football coach at Smyrna High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.